Financing is a big conversation in this country as we move forward, And that notwithstanding, many ask the question, where is the source of these funds coming from? It has been capped at billions of shillings. But Kenyans are asking, in the current economy where we are saying, pesa mfukoni hakuna, despite campaign promises, where are these monies coming from? And you as a constitutional lawyer, Nyaribo, is this a question that each and every single Kenyan should be asking? Is this a question for REBC, KRA, and all the security agencies in asking that question, the source of this money?
I think there is no money even anyway. There is no money in the market that should be used to do all these lavish campaigns. Actually, there is no money. That's the truth. If you come to me, you search all over, you will not find money. The average Kenyans, you will not find that they have money, actually. Even average politicians, they don't have money. So I think the question is very timely. Where does the money come from? So there must be a very interesting source where money is coming from. Apart from the public money that goes through the political parties, office, and that you can always see, according to the large parties, they get a certain portion of money, and then smaller parties don't get. Even the money that is supposed to trickle down to, for example, ODM, even if it was a very big party, the government did not allow it to access those funds. So the question is interesting. Where is the money coming from? Is there some laundering going on? I mean, how are people getting money?
Yeah.
So to be honest, unless there are people who are contributing, for example, like you see Sifuna goes all over, is being given some money. Parties like Kenya Kwanza or UDF, for that matter, they are large enough, they are given some money. But I think it's a big challenge for people to raise money and do campaigns. So when you see now politicians lavishly actually splashing money around the country, then everybody is asking, where did they steal it from? Where is it coming from?
Where is it coming from? Grace, then from a political party's perspective, then, whether we like it or not, money will have to be spent during the campaigns, right? And while at that, then one asks the question from you as an organizing secretary, that is perhaps the headache that you deal with on a daily basis. Not to ask what your strategy is, but how are you cracking that headache in making sure that at the end of the day, you're able to compete with the big boys and girls who have these funds in the market or in the country?
I'll answer your question, but let me start with this one because it's burning. I have to start by saying this is what you call budgeted corruption. We all know where the money is coming from. The money is coming from taxpayers, yeah? And it's time we got serious as a people. The money that is going to be spent is either money that is supposed to be in the development budgets today, okay? Or money that is supposed to that will be budgeted after 2027 and then now start being used to pay people back. So as PLP, we're definitely raising money, but we can never outspend the kinds of Ruto campaign funds. And it's not even our intention. What we're doing is making sure that people are investing in the electoral process. And there are very many ways to give into the political process. One, there's people volunteering their time. Voter education. The biggest misinformation in Kenya today is the role of an MP. So if we spend time through the media, through civic education from political parties, or even just wherever Kenyans are talking, in the churches, in the Linda Mwananchi rallies, in the Purple Train rallies, educating Kenyans what they should expect from an MP. The average MP today has become an expert. They've given themselves a job. They're an expert of policing 215 million on average, which is CDF funds. Yeah. They're letting us down. Our budget is how many trillion per year? 4 trillion. They should understand every single budget line of those funds of the national budget. They should know how much money we're spending on electricity, which regions are supposed to be getting electricity. You can't just mark time on a CDF. CDF already has its own committee. Okay, there's NGAF, there's also a chairman in the constituency fund. Kazi ya MP iko hapo. You know, where we need MPs is to actually close those loopholes so that we know when money is being taken from a youth fund that is supposed to be a loan that Kenyans are paying back and misdirected to campaigns. That's our MPs letting us down.
Yeah, I want to come to Vincent. Vincent, from Jubilee Party now. That notwithstanding, you're supposed to be getting some money from the political parties because you have members of parliament in the house, you know. But that notwithstanding as well, you must equally be creative enough to finding ways on how you will reach Mwananchi, how you will be able to raise funds for your campaigns. But as she says, budgeted corruption is the word that we see today. It's coming from taxpayers' money. So how do we ensure then that as we approach the general election, that it is a level playing ground, that people do not take advantage of the positions they have in the society to play rough?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I want to say that this, that it will not be a level playing ground.
You're already giving up?
Simply because you see the people in opposition and also the people in the government, they cannot be able to match. That's why my sister said that there is budgeted corruption. Budgeted corruption is not in the opposition. Budgeted corruption is in the government. That is why you have seen the government, and more particularly Kenya Kwanza, they are spending a lot of money in passing around in the names of empowerment. And if you look at the source of that money is the taxes people pay. This is the revenue which the government gets. This is the budgeted corruption she's talking about. So it will not be the same for the opposition. However, there is money, of course. People are now trying to, mobilize resources on their own. If you are a candidate like me, you have to prepare yourself for the next general elections. Of course, in the economy, there is no money in circulation, but you have to look for other sources so that you save for the next.
How are you preparing yourself?
Sorry?
How are you preparing yourself?
I'm preparing myself. I practice law, so I'm making some savings. So every other person, he has one or two, sources of income to raise. He may not be able to raise that much, but they are preparing themselves. But let me say this. On the opposition side, actually, entirely what we rely on is the political party funding, which comes in. And the political party funding, the money that comes from the political parties fund, is not meant for campaigns. It's meant for, the daily running of the offices. Pay staff, do further, or civic education and other things, not for the campaigns. However, some parties are lucky enough to, get contributions from their members of parliament and also members of county assembly. But in Jubilee, you know very well, our Jubilee members, most of them, when they came in, they just shifted to UDA government.
Shifted allegiance.
They stopped their contributions. But let me finish by saying, it's high time that the Kenyans also wake up and, call this government to order. Because a lot of money is being spent on basis of empowerment, but there is corruption. Because you cannot carry, like now, the last weekend I've seen, senior government officials coming to my constituency in Nyamira. They have contributed a whole 20 million shillings. And after collecting the 20 million, people now queue and now they start dividing those money. And that money does not come from politicians alone. It also comes from cabinet secretaries. So it's high time that we call these people to order and also make sure that when it comes next year, we send this government home.
Gitungo, Mzalendo Watch has been there to monitor, has been monitoring elections, the campaigns, the results.